Welcome to the Ascend 307 webinar series on employability skills. Today, our focus is on showcasing partner district work this year as we wrap up the series. Please first turn your attention to a welcome by the Wyoming State Superintendent Megan Degenfelder as she explains the purpose behind the series this year. And just give me a minute here as I call it up.
Hello, I'm Megan Degenfelder, Wyoming State Superintendent of Public Instruction, and I'd like to welcome you to the Ascend 307 series of webinars. Ascend 307 is a multi-year initiative developed through a federal grant awarded to the Wyoming Department of Education. The overarching goal of the grant is to improve outcomes for students with disabilities by enhancing personnel preparation and professional development in education and transition services. The focus of this webinar is employability skills, the skills that employers consistently rank as essential for new hires. The 9 skills are grouped into 3 main categories: applied knowledge, which includes problem solving and decision making; effective relationships, which encompass functioning effectively as part of a team environment; and workplace skills, such as managing time and communicating with coworkers. One of the 6 key initiative areas in my strategic plan is preparing students for jobs, and employability skills are a critical component to this effort. I hope you find this content impactful and continue to watch further installments. Thank you.
Welcome back. Thanks for listening and your attention thus far. Employability skills, as Superintendent Degenfelder said, are skills employers consistently rank as essential for new hires, but they aren't built exclusively in middle and high school. The core foundational skills need to be developed early from pre-kindergarten on as executive function skills. Executive function skills provide the foundation that enables development and application of employability skills as students transition from K-12 environment to the employment and provide long-term benefits of better health, resilience, and reduced risk of criminal convictions. The WDE uses the term essential readiness skills, which we feel encompasses both executive function and employability skills as those skills that prepare students for the next phase of life, whether that be to kindergarten, to middle, to high school, or to the workforce. The Wyoming Department of Education has adapted the employability skills framework for a Wyoming ready workforce. This infographic portrays 9 key employability skills grouped under 3 main categories, as explained by Superintendent Degenfelder in the welcome video. During this academic year, we have highlighted each one of these skills. Now it's time to apply and showcase the great work that all of you are doing. And this brings us to our exciting news. Ascend 307 is happy to announce a new initiative that will help build a network of practical lessons and activities toward developing essential readiness skills in all students with and without disabilities. We would like to hear from you, and we value your help in growing this resource. How you can help is first enroll in the WDE Canvas course called Ascend 307 Essential Readiness Skills. View or review the 7 Essential Readiness Skills webinars. Then complete the final project by sharing a lesson or an activity that you do in your classroom that helps develop students' essential readiness skills. Tell us how you know it's working. Upon successful submission, you'll earn free registration to the WDE Annual TeacherCon conference, a half credit for PTSB, and an opportunity for your work to be recognized on the Wyoming Innovator Network resource webpage, with compensation for such. Please complete the course by July 1st in order to get free registration for TeacherCon. If you miss that deadline, don't worry. You can still earn PTSB credit and be considered for the Innovator Network well after that deadline. Any questions or for more information, please contact me, Trina Kilty, and my contact information will be given after the presentation. Thank you for considering this great opportunity. And now this webinar is our final webinar for the academic year. Will look a little different. With us today is a panelist of administrators, educators, and coaches from Uinta County School District 1 who would like to share their story of how a new teacher, including special education teacher, induction program has improved teacher retention. Today we are pleased to have with us Matt Williams, who has served in special education for 22 years, 10 of which as the Director of Special Education at UCSD 1. Matt has been an early and enthusiastic supporter of Ascend 307 and jumped in right away to volunteer as the first cohort for the pilot year. He is joined by Becky Symes, the new teacher induction and curriculum coordinator, who has, in addition to literacy and classroom teacher experience, helped reinvent the induction program for new teachers at Uinta 1. With Becky is Debbie Nixon, an IEP case manager and special education induction coordinator. She has spent her career in special education and brings a wealth of experience as the special education new teacher induction coordinator. And we'll hear from Jamie Cook, special education K-1 resource teacher and mentor teacher. Jamie has been in special education for 15 years and serves as a mentor for new special education teachers. Uinta 1, we now turn it over to you, and I will stop sharing so that you can share.
Hello, everyone. Honestly, that was the scariest part of this presentation is to have a smooth transition. So I hope this is up and everybody can see it. So thank you for letting us be here. Our friends at the WDE, Trina and Dina, thank you so very much. So limited time, so I'm going to jump right in. A couple of things I want to talk about is, first of all, why new teachers are leaving the profession in Wyoming. So you can talk about stress and anxiety, mental health scenarios. We learned a lot about that in our COVID years, just really the impact of mental health, lack of support, both professionally and then within the confines of our profession that way. Our workload can be very impactful. And then there's always salary components. So one of the things that we've really uncovered, at least in our school district, some strategies or some learning is that many SPED teachers don't receive adequate mentorship in their IEP development, in understanding the compliance side of things, and then overall service delivery, putting the whole package together of a well-written IEP and then presenting it to a student and their families that way. There's a lot of legal requirements and instructional demands simultaneously that can lead to stress and anxiety. I'm not going to say can, will lead to stress and anxiety, and thus needing that support professionally that way. When you look at the overall caseload and the significance of time impact and complex understanding of the IDEA, you look at the IEPs, you look at the need to progress monitor, all of the documentation that goes along with that, and then conducting and/or attending meetings with appropriate behavior. You put that in context with all of the many amazing stakeholders that we have. It's a big deal. It's a lot. There are so many specialized skills that go into putting the special in special education that we need to pay close attention to our new teachers and make sure that they're not leaving the profession at all. But more importantly, make sure they're being equipped with the right tools. So when we look at our numbers here in our school district, since 2022, we have approximately 26 total new SPED teachers. Now, only 3.8% of our new SPED teachers have left the field of education for another industry. Nationwide, if you look at education in general, roughly 40 to 50% of them, after the first 2 or 3 or 4 years of their profession, are leaving, and not just going to another school, but are leaving the profession. So what I think I would note, just as a side piece to this, is as we've observed our teachers that have that 3.8, they're real people, they're critical people. What we found is that very few are leaving, and those that do are really tied to family matters, in all of the many facets. That way, we don't necessarily have to go into them, but it really is more of a family thing rather than leaving in the industry. And that's something that we're really, really proud of, and supporting our folks that way. Now, uh, here's the secret sauce. And when I was putting this slide together, that's exactly how I felt about this. Here in just a second, you're going to learn a little bit more about our induction programs. It is one of the strongest tools that we have when recruiting. Even when I'm meeting with students around the West at various universities, and even if they don't want to come to Uinta County One, I make it a point to coach them that as they are navigating through the new hiring process, is that they make sure that their prospective district is explaining their induction program in detail, so that they know that they're going to get that support. It really matters. At a bigger picture level, our induction program has been in place for years, and Becky, as you'll meet here in just a second, has done outstanding work refining it to what it is today. Now, as we've grown, we've been intentional about recognizing that supporting all staff means going beyond a one-size-fits type model. If the IEPs are individualized, we really need to get to an individual level on this level as well. So while we recognize that our general education induction program was an absolute strength, we also identified a few years ago the need to do a better job supporting our special educators. So as I've already stated, special education comes with so many unique demands. So essentially what we wanted to do, and that you'll hear from Debbie Nixon here in just a moment, is we wanted to provide the kind of SDI for staff that helps guide them, that specially designed instruction to help guide them through their first 3 years, whether they're coming straight from college or transitioning from another district. Our goal is simple: make sure every educator, including our special education teachers, have the support they need to be successful and stay in the profession. Now, you're really getting to the good part of the presentation. I'm going to turn this over to Becky. She's going to discuss our overall induction program. It's the core. Everybody gets it. General education, special education. Debbie will then go into the specific support we give to our SPED teachers. And then the amazing Jamie will discuss her specific experience as a mentor. And I'm really excited about this, and we appreciate you guys joining in.
Hello. Yes, my name is Becky Symes, and I'm so proud to be the induction coordinator in Uinta County School District #1. And this first picture that I'm going to show you is the heart, the absolute heart of everything that we do. This is these are our new teachers over the past 3 years. And we feel like if we invest in our new teachers, then we are investing in our students. And as I look at their faces, I'm just so inspired by their work, by the growth that they've all had, from our new teachers this year to our year 3s, who we just took to dinner and just really celebrated all of the growth and the reflections that they have made over the past 3 years. We already have a new cohort that we're getting ready to serve, and we're excited about the work that we have ahead of us with them. So one side note, as you look at each of these individual pictures, is that this group of educators works together for 3 years. And so they really become an incredible collaborative team. And even more importantly than that, which is kind of an understated part of our program, is that they become a support system for each other in a personal way. They become friends. They laugh together, they cry together, they work through problems together. And so this group becomes really tight and really lasts on and on throughout their careers. So today as Matt said, I'm going to give you this little chunk about what our induction program looks like in Evanston. As Matt said, we take a scaffolded approach to working with our new teachers for their first 3 years. We want to build a really strong foundation of support and guidance for them. Induction is also a resource for our new teachers so that they gain all of the knowledge that all of our other teachers have been getting over the past recent years, and also a place where we work on best instructional practices. So we really have 3 pieces that go along with our model for our new teacher program. And the first piece is the phases of a new teacher's attitude toward teaching, which this may be a familiar graph to you. This is from Ellen Moore at the New Teacher College. And one of the things that we really want to recognize in our new teachers is that they're going to need different types of support at different times throughout the year. So with this graphic, you can see that we really want to pinpoint the work that we do at the beginning of the year when they're in an anticipation phase and they're really excited about becoming a teacher. They're also nervous. They also have a lot of questions. And then right at the beginning of the school year, I'm telling you, probably the first day, they move into survival mode. And they really just don't know which direction they're going. They're working minute by minute or day by day. And we need to give them specific support that aligns with survival. It's really tough come about October when our teachers begin moving into disillusionment. And this is a common phase for new teachers and really all teachers during those long winter months. During disillusionment, a lot of times our teachers are questioning their profession, like, what did I do? What was I thinking? They get sick often or depressed in many ways. They're unsure of themselves. They may have a lot of insecurities at this time. And so we're going to give them support that aligns with that specific season. After winter break, a lot of times teachers start feeling like they have their feet under them. They're feeling good about, understanding and knowing their students. And so we work into rejuvenation and then reflection, where they are really thoughtful about, okay, how did this year go? What can I learn? What can I take from it? What lessons can I move forward? What feedback do I want to really consider? And then they move into those summer months, which is another burst of anticipation as they think about resting and relaxing and learning into the summer. So that's really our first piece of our core that we work with in induction. And then to add on to this, we work with Lipton and Wellman, who have guidelines for specific types of supports that new teachers need. Tina Bogren, through her work with beginning teachers, she has aligned Lipton and Wellman's work with Ellen Moore's, and so we use that combined model. We know that during anticipation, our new teachers are going to need a lot of physical and institutional support. So during anticipation, really, and survival. So they're going to need to know how to use the copier. They're going to need to know where the staplers are. They're going to want to know, if I'm sick, how do I put in my leave request? There are all those little questions that may seem small and that may not be addressed because we all know how to do them. So a lot of times for new teachers, it's just a mystery. That first fire drill happens and they're like, where do I take my students? So all of those physical supports and institutional supports. The institutional supports at this time of year are really, what is the culture like of this school? What does my collaborative team expect of me? What are our norms? How does this place that I'm in now really work? So that's the type of support in the time of year that we give new teachers at that time. As they move into disillusionment, we're going to really lift up emotional support at that time. We're really going to make sure that we're there to listen to them, that we're there to ask the right questions, because worked with new teachers, you know that they don't even know the right questions to ask. So we need to ask guiding questions that's going to help us get to the heart of the matter. So we're going to give them that emotional support just when they need it. We're going to give them instructional support all throughout the year, But when they're in that rejuvenation reflection phase, we can really hone in on best instructional practices that they'll carry forward throughout their career. And then at the end of the year, we're going to give them that institutional support again. And this is the time where Debbie or I or Jamie, we might say, hey, based on the work that you've done this year, I think this book would be a really great opportunity for you this summer. Or you might want to go ahead and try out the literacy conference this summer, because I think that could really help you in your practice. So we're going to make sure that we're giving teachers the right support at the right time. Now, these phases may not look exactly the same for every teacher, and so we're going to adjust our support as needed for them. I'm in classrooms frequently, so I can take data and then I can adjust my induction sessions based on what I'm seeing in the classroom. That third component that we really use as far as our research goes is the work of Tina Bogren through some of her writing. She is a consultant with Solution Tree. We use her field guide for beginning teachers, supporting beginning teachers book, and then also a wellness book supporting beginning teachers through the first 180 days of school. We use all of those to really guide our practice. Okay, so we know how important beginnings are. I think that as I've thought about this with new teachers and with veteran teachers, it seems like we always remember the beginnings and then the middle's a little bit murky. We want to give our new teachers a strong beginning. We want them to feel confident and good. Even though they're going to have a lot of challenges, we want them to know that we're here for them. So in August, we have a 3-day orientation, and during this time, we know that they're getting a lot of information, and so we have a guide for them to take notes on throughout their time with us those 3 days, and then we let them know that everything that we talk about here, we're going to revisit again. You don't have to memorize or remember everything that we're discussing. We will come back to that throughout our induction sessions during the year. One of the things that we think is so important to start with are introductions. And during that first morning breakfast, we have all of the district administrators and all of the school administrators in one room, and we take a little bit of time to get to know each other. And we let those new teachers know that we are here for you. And we didn't just interview you, you interviewed us. And it's important to us that we keep you here too. Our superintendent spends some great time with our new teachers, 2 or 3 hours that first day, and really talks about the culture of our district, goes through specific points in the handbook that they tab along the way so that they can refer back to it later. We have getting to know you activities and raffles where they get some prizes for their classrooms. One of the things that we've been doing for the past few years is we send our new teachers off that first day on a school tour, and our principals lead these tours. And it's not just any school tour where they're just walking around the school. This has been designed very carefully to give them an abundance of physical support. So in the school tour, which I go through with them before they head off, we talk about different parts of the school and questions that might relate to those specific parts. So you can see from this example that when they guide them through the office area, they're going to ask questions like, when might I send a student to the office? Or how do I sign up for leave if I need a substitute? Or do I need to sign in first thing in the morning? Or how do I send in my attendance or my student tardies? So in each section in the hall, when they're walking through the hallway, we have them specifically ask, do I need to do hallway duty? Or what are the expectations for students as they're walking down the hallway? So all of these little tiny things that build up to really big things in the mind of a new teacher. We also send them to lunch on one of their days with their school PBIS team, where they can really talk with their school team about student behaviors and behavior policies at their specific school. On that first day, if there's a situation with a student, we want that new teacher to know who they can call and what they can do to get support in that situation. We invite downtown Evanston to come to our induction meeting that first week. They bring goodie bags full of all kinds of prizes from different businesses downtown, and they let our new teachers know what kinds of activities are going to be happening in downtown Evanston and what they can expect from our community. We have a variety of guest speakers that come in that first week. We have guest speakers that are former kind of legendary teachers who come in and talk about classroom culture. We have a principal from one of our schools that talks more about classroom management. We have Matt and his team that come and talk with our new teachers about special education. Our tech team comes and talks with our new teachers about technology and Power School. We briefly give them information about our evaluation. And we have an all-star teacher team from secondary and elementary who come and talk to our new teachers about parent communication. And again, we know that this is a lot for our new teachers, and we know that they're thinking about their classrooms and all of the things that they need to do. So we really do scaffold it, and we let them know, just remember, we're going to address this later, but take notes, and you can review those notes as a question arises for you along your pathway. So strong beginnings is key. Then we move into our monthly induction sessions. And in our monthly induction sessions, we're keeping in mind always the phases that our new teachers are in and the types of support that we need to be giving them at that specific time. So in our monthly induction sessions, Deb and I really usually have 4 parts to each of those sessions. We start out with some type of warm-up where they get to know each other even better. We don't do the cheesy warm-ups where they're really uncomfortable. It's really just ways for them to bond more as a team. And a lot of times we focus on gratitude or experiences they've had since we were together the month before. So we have some type of warm-up. We always focus on some type of classroom support, best instructional practices from research-based sources and our growth model evaluation system. Then we have some type of wellness invitation that we give to them and that we discuss, and then we always give them some time to do some reflection. And you can see from the examples here what a month might look like. So in October, we are going to give them additional emotional support. We're really going to focus in with our classroom support on clarity and learning targets and lesson planning. Our wellness strategy is closing the stress cycle. And then, of course, we're going to give them time to reflect. And you can see how different times during the year, those induction sessions look a little bit different. And again, no matter what time of year it is, we're always giving that instructional support. So as I said earlier, and Matt mentioned this too, we give scaffolded support to our new teachers. So one of the things that all of our year 1 and 2 new teachers have is a mentor, and that the mentors go through trainings with me. And Jamie's going to talk to you about our mentor program a little bit more. We have monthly induction sessions for our year 1 teachers. We have 9 sessions for them, 5 sessions for our year 2 teachers, and then 4 for our year 3 teachers. We lift up our district practices during these sessions, things that the other teachers in our district have already learned or have already spent time with, like HRS and PLCs, RTI, all the acronyms, friends, and our district culture. As far as the acronyms go, we even give them a document that lists all the acronyms that they might need to know so that they have this at their fingertips, so they don't have to just nod their heads in meetings, but they actually have a resource for finding out what some of those terms mean. We also, let me go to here, I observe my new teachers monthly, and with those observations, we are doing feedback loops where we have discussions about celebrations and next steps and questions that the new teacher might have. I will go in and model lessons for our new teachers. And at first I was kind of intimidated by this because I thought, well, what can I teach an automotive, teacher? I don't really even know where my oil tank is. Is it called an oil tank now? Yeah.
Sure.
I don't even know where that is in the car. But the reason that I'm very confident with what I do now is that I know that instruction is what I'm working on with these teachers. I'm working on classroom management and instruction and wellness. And that is, they may know their content better than me, but I can definitely help them with the other side of that equation. So observation and feedback loops are a very important part of our program. We do collaborative planning and problem solving, and then we do a lot of celebrating together. So we are continually asking ourselves, how can we support our new teachers in becoming and remaining strong and effective educators for years to come? And like Matt mentioned earlier, that's when we decided we need some more support for our special education teachers. I couldn't answer all of those questions. So that's when my friend Debbie came in, and she can answer all the questions that I don't have answers to. I'll turn this over to her now.
Isn't she amazing? She makes me want to be a new teacher, even as old as I am right now. So how this beautiful opportunity came to be is Matt and Dr. Ingalls asked me, or Mr. Williams and Dr. Ingalls asked me if I would be interested in working with the new SPED teachers that year. They had 13 new SPED hires in 1 year, which was a large group. So I agreed and then started working and going off of their outline of things they wanted me, their learning targets for me. And I saw myself different from Becky, and I saw myself more independent. And I didn't really like that feeling. And so I put myself into Becky's meetings. I wanted to hear what they were hearing from her. So I would just invite myself, and I just showed up all the time. And then I would have my separate sessions with them. And somehow we morphed into a team. And as she mentioned, it's been beneficial because oftentimes gen ed teachers will have questions about child find or special education topics. And oftentimes SPED teachers that she was working with would have questions specific to SPED, and she would ask about that. So it's been very nice that we could collaborate together and cover questions and topics together. Our sessions are similar to hers. It's the same 3-year window. I meet with the year 1 teachers every month and then taper off on year 2 and 3. The topics I have are very SPED specific. They're about an hour long. It's interactive. Sometimes I'm a sit and get kind of gal, and so I have to really work. I've learned that from Becky to involve them, have some movement, have some activities. By year 1, topics are pretty set. I try to stick with my topics, but year 2 and 3, the dynamics can change of those groups. For example, my year 2, it was only secondary. I didn't have any elementary. And so, wow, I really had to think outside of the box because I've been only in elementary. So it is very set for year 1, but year 2 and 3, we look at topics of interest for them or things they're working on specifically. It's a little more diverse. And I've really enjoyed that stretch for me to have to think outside of the box. Another example is I had 2 life skills teachers with 2 secondary resource teachers. And wow, trying to bridge that was a little tricky. I need to change my slide. Okay, my number 1 area of focus is compliance. I just returned from the LRP conference and I've been scared straight. So we work a lot on compliance, ensuring FAPE, talking about that, and then confidentiality, because I don't want to hear about my kids at the rec center. I don't want to hear names thrown around. So we work really hard with all teachers on that. As we look at the year 1 and 2 and 3, we look at all the elements of the IEP. We just break that IEP down. Matt has compliance trainings with our CTs, and we bring all of those in together, and I'll do specific trainings on the PLAF or goals or how to determine SDI. And some of the webinars I've attended have really helped with me in what should I work on? What do I need to focus on? We talk about, ESY, LRE, accommodations, progress monitoring, data collection, because we're finding more and more that data needs to drive our decisions. some of the other topics that we look at, and oftentimes Becky and I will have them reflect and talk about what would you have needed a little more help or support on? What are areas of weaknesses that you would like us to focus on? And they're really good to share out with us. And sometimes they give constructive criticism, and sometimes I don't like that necessarily, but they're very good at giving us ideas at what we can do next. Behavior is a big one. Every year, behavior is something every level of induction sessions they ask for. So we'll bring in behavior specialists, we'll give them resources, mental health, we've talked their mental health and helping them not to become burned out. We do housekeeping things like beginning and ending of the year expectations, how to navigate through the system to put information in. We talk about dealing with paraprofessionals, how to work with parents and staff, scheduling. It's just a variety, especially those second and third years. There's just a variety of things we talk about. And sometimes we don't have enough time to talk about it, but they don't want to meet with me on a Saturday. Imagine that. Imagine that. So I think I'm supposed to change. Here we go. So the beautiful part of this is that it is a whole team. So in addition to Becky, who does the whole district, then they have me, which is a SPED focus. But they also have in every building a consulting teacher. So unlike Becky, I do not do observations. I don't go into their classrooms. I'm more of a training. But in their buildings, they each have a consulting teacher who does those things. They go in and they support, they take their questions, they teach them the mechanics of things, and that's been a huge benefit. They also are part of a building SPED team, and so they have peers that they're working with and can bounce ideas off of, and they also have a building PLC team. And for our district, it is all means all, is something that's really transformed in our district. It's no longer, oh, go to Mrs. Nixon's room. That's where you are. You're not part of our tier 1 or tier 2. That whole mindset has changed over the years, and it is a true team effort. Everyone knows those students, SPED and general. And those gen ed teachers are working very closely with the SPED teachers, and that's just been something wonderful to see. Our topics, like I said, are very specific to special education, so that can keep us all out of jail. We're all working together. We're all trying to make sure we're in compliance. We do in-depth work with the IEP, breaking that down. But my favorite part is we're working on building relationships. And through Becky's program, and hopefully this SPED component, we are giving them the support that they need. So they are not feeling isolated. So they know they are not alone. If there's a tricky situation with a parent or paperwork or something, they're not alone, and we will be there to help them. And hopefully that gives them a sense of belonging and a retention of staff, because we're in it for kids, but we're also in it for each other, and we need to help each other out. Jamie's now going to talk about that mentorship with individual teachers, and so I'm going to pass it over to her.
Let's play and pass it. Okay. So this year I've had the opportunity to work with two exceptional teachers. The first one, she was actually a special ed paraprofessional before she decided to go get her teaching degree, and she is now doing her student teaching in a life skills classroom. And then we had a first grade general education teacher that has gone back and attained her master's degree in special ed. She actually just finished up last week, so I was very proud to be part of their education. Uinta County School District #1 has a mentoring program, as Becky and Debbie both mentioned. New teachers are assigned to mentor for the first 3 years. It just depends on the need. Most of the time it's 2 years, but if we need to go into 3 years, we will. The mentor is a highly qualified teacher or educator. And then we meet with our teachers at least 1 hour per week. With my student teacher, I'm meeting with her daily, but the other teachers, we meet with them once a week. If not more, if they need more, then we will do that. And then Becky and the other administrators give us the mentors training regarding implementing support and the impact cycles to help our mentees.
Change the slide.
Oh, so sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. So when I do work with my mentees, I do coaching. We do observations and feedback. A lot of it really is based on what their universities are needing, but sometimes it's based on what the school district needs. I facilitate reflections of daily lesson and units. As it's mentioned before, reflection's a huge part of what we do. It helps the new teachers with what they need to do next, I guess. And then communicating with college clinical supervisors. It depends on the university what they need, but there's been times that I've had to get on and we've done the coaching together or the feedback together. Some of the support, as Becky mentioned earlier, the support that she gives her new teachers, I also do for my mentees. The physical part of it is how they set up their classroom, especially in a life skills classroom. That's kind of tricky because you have kids, every kid in that classroom is individualized. Where the program materials are, and if they're not in the school, how to access them through the special ed department, where the manipulatives might be, and any other supplies, how to do requisitions, how to do all that kind of stuff that they need. We're there for emotional, building trust, expressing empathy, asking what can I do to help you feel safe and supported, just being there. We've all been there before, and special ed can be kind of lonely sometimes. It's getting better, but especially in a life skills situation. The instructional support I give is helping build best instructional practicing, studying the scope of sequence of the year, planning and scheduling for paras, which if anybody has had to do 5 paras, that's a challenge in its own, and then just modeling instruction. Institutional support is providing resources and next step to continue learning and growing. As Becky mentioned, maybe, hey, over the summer, would you read this book? I have mentioned last year when we did the special design instruction book study, I have mentioned that to my new life skills teacher to read also. Some of the challenges I've had this year is just working with the colleges, really. Our timelines were a little off. We wanted to get her started a little sooner. They were hesitating a little bit, and I think it was just the paperwork for them. So just trying to fit with what we wanted our new teachers to do and what the colleges were having us do. And then just scheduling, especially if we have 7 schools and trying to find time, if you have a mentee in a different school, trying to find time to go observe, meet with them, talk with them. Some of the successes I've had is helping them make through challenges and learning from them. Especially in the life skills classroom, we've had a lot of behavioral challenges and just working through those, keeping that irritation of the teachers down and trying to help the paraprofessionals also trained on that stuff. Achieving high scores and positive feedback from college clinical supervisors. Everybody wants, a 3 out of 3. And just trying to achieve those. And if they don't get that high, what's the positive feedback, but also what's the goal to get them there? Gradually releasing teachers to independence with great success. That's why we work with them for the first 3 years to get them through and hopefully maintain them. And then student data illustrates continual growth and progress. As Debbie mentioned, data is the most important thing, especially with students on an IEP. That keeps us legal, that keeps our kids learning, that shows if anything needs to change, et cetera. Lessons learned, for me to just sit and listen is a powerful tool. Just listen to them, just sit there and just listen to their frustration, let them vent on you. Sometimes you'd rather them do that than on their paraprofessionals or the parents or the students. When you give feedback, we're always making a plan, making goals to help fix that problem or how to follow up with that support. I try to model as much as possible. I did do life skill for 8 years, and so I try to model as much as possible. The students change, but that's a big part of my mentor responsibility. And then reflect with my mentees to help them recognize their growth and next steps. We've been really doing a lot of that this week. One of my life skills teacher has done that with her college. It was a requirement, but also her and I have talked a lot about what next year is going to look like and what she wants to change for next year. But she's exceptional, so there's not a lot that she needs to really do. And then as I'm finishing up, I'm just going to leave you with this quote. When we invest in beginning teachers, we invest in every student they will teach. Thank you.
And I think Trina's going to talk with you now about the questions, if there are any questions.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for that. Was a really exciting presentation, and I just really enjoyed listening to what was going on. Even though I've worked with it all year, it was just really neat to see it just all summarized and presented like that. And I love that the guiding uh, force is, that IEPs are individual IEPs are on an individual basis, and so should support be on individual basis for new teachers, and SDI for staff. I think that's wonderful. So let's see, looking at the questions, I don't see any yet. I think that people were probably just paying attention and listening hard during the presentation. So we'll leave it open there and see if any come in. And in the meantime, I'm going to share my screen and show you the QR for the evaluation. That link is also in the chat. And thank you so much for your participation today. Your evaluation is really important to us. So if you could access either the QR code or the link up above. If you can't get the QR code to work, the link is posted there as well. And it's also posted in the chat. And then here is some more information to get involved with the first full rollout year of Ascend 307. So there's so many professional development opportunities like coaching, supporting EA teachers, developing students' essential readiness skills, and building trust and engagement between schools and families. So please reach out if you're interested or have questions. My information is on the next slide. That's the slide for the Ascend 307 homepage where you can hear or read more about it. And here's my contact information. If you're interested in that course for, again, free registration for TeacherCon, and if you are interested and submit what your final project is, which is basically an activity or a lesson, whatever you do with students to help build their essential readiness skills. And you can be part of that. And so just don't hesitate to let me know if you have questions there. So, and we have a question that has come in. And so I'm going to go ahead and let's stop the recording. And then we'll get to the questions. And I will stop sharing. Okay.